mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. In the black community, well, we're massively overrepresented in the mental health institutions, even more so than in the prisons. And again, these are questions we have to ask. Well, why?
But once you get a control and an understanding of who you are, no one can use you against you. No one can ever use your mental illness against you. You've already spoke about it, so what you got?
The biggest point in life to resolve mental health is like giving a fuck about a person.
Where did you get the courage? I got the courage. The 2 words. I care.
It's Chill Will Radio, where connections will be made, advice will be given, jokes will be told, and things will get real. My name is Willis Cooks, and I'm your host. But understand this show is not meant to be used as a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Enjoy the show, y'all. Yo. What's the deal, peoples? What's the deal? What's poppin'? Welcome to another episode of Chill Will Radio. My name is Willis Cooks. Chill Will Radio, man. This is episode number 28, 29, one of those. But we here, man. Welcome everyone that's listening, everyone that's going to tune in halfway through the show, everyone that's going to tune in, tomorrow, next week, next year, whenever you get the chance. Shout out to those individuals. If you ain't never going to tune in at all, good looking to you, my dog, because I got somebody to look out for when I'm trying to reach it. As always, man, this is Willis Cooks, Chill Will Radio, man, where we're talking about all things mental health. The good, the bad, the ugly, the not so ugly, the taboo, the stuff we need to stick away from, all that reckless stuff, man. I think for the next, and I've been thinking about this, man. I have a lot of things, I won't say contradictories, but I have a lot of opinions when it comes to certain topics within mental health in which I believe certain people would disagree. I think I'm going to have to start thinking about these, man, when it comes to certain disorders, when it comes to spoiled little brats, spoiled little kids, when it comes to the enabling of certain therapists and social workers, man. So I think what I'm about to do here, man, is try to get a little bit more, what's the word? I can't think of it. Whatever it is, I'm finna start rubbing them some feathers the wrong way just to see how that goes off. But, man, how was my week? Man, my week was shit. Work. I need to die down. Work. I need to chill out with work, right? Because I'm stubborn. Stubborn as hell, right? Stubborn. I never want to admit when I'm stressed. I never want to admit when I feel like I'm burning out. I never want to admit when I feel like I need to chill, right? Because I have this thing in my head that tells me like, yo, I can do everything. I can do anything. And I'm starting to feel as if, I don't want to say burnt out, but I'm starting to feel as if I need a break, right? It's all day. I literally work all day, every day, and it's not getting... Granted, the work that I'm doing, it's not that I hate the work. I really love the work that I'm doing. It's just sometimes you always have to get back to self, right? And that's going to go into the self-care piece when I get there. But for this week, I'm just really been thoroughly understanding the importance of getting back to self, right? Saying that it's okay to just be lazy and be bored. See, for me, I have to be busy. I have to be busy all the time because the way my brain works is if I have a day to just relax, if I have a day to just chill, I'm going to begin to think that I'm worthless. I should be doing more. I should be doing this. There are other things that I need to really go try to attack. I need to go do these goals. I need to write this out. I need to do that. And my brain never shuts off. And it's crazy. And this is the hardest thing with all therapists. It's always hard for therapists to accept therapist advice because you feel as if you got it when sometimes it's like, you don't. But it's hard to really acknowledge that. It's hard to really face that. It's hard to really be okay with that. And that's what I'm learning right now. That's what I've been kind of on throughout this week, understanding that it's okay to say that you're stressed. It's okay to say that you're burnt out. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on men saying that it's okay to not be okay, but it's also okay to be stressed. It's also okay to be burnt out. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to just take a back seat when it comes to things, man, because I have to really thoroughly understand that I can't do everything. And I be thinking that I could do everything. I look at people like, I can do that, right? Especially a lot of my white counterparts when they be doing stuff at work. I be like, yo, I can do that way better than you, which is why I'm a way better therapist than you, because you don't know what you talk about. And you can't handle this kid from the hood and blah, 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 blah. That's how I be thinking, right? But I have to take a second and just really think that, Willis, even though you can do it, that doesn't mean you should do it, right? And that's something that I have to really figure out, right? Just because I can do it, should I do it? 9 times out of 10, the answer is always no. But my thick ass skull and my stubborn self always have to tell myself, like, Willis, if you don't do it, you're bitching out. You ain't no bitch. Blah, 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 blah. But that's an eternal battle. It's always an eternal battle with all of us. With all of us, with all of us, with all of us. So moving forward into, the self-care piece, right? The thing, and I was speaking about it briefly as I was checking in with myself, but understanding the importance of scheduling time for self, right? Because I haven't been doing that for the past few weeks, probably for the past few months. And I remember when I first came out to LA, I was big on taking trips, right? I'm gonna go somewhere once every month, right? It could be out of state, it could be hiking, it could be whatever. I'm going to work, and then I'm going to have that weekend to where it's all me, right? I haven't been doing that for the past few months, and I've been noticing myself getting very, very, very irritable, right? Because I haven't really been feeding self, right? I haven't been feeding self. The one way we feed self is by scheduling time for self. And if we never do that, and we schedule time for work, schedule time for homies, if you schedule time for chilling with my girl, if you schedule time for all of these other things, but you never schedule time for self, you're going to catch yourself being irritable, right? And I caught myself for the past few weeks being very, very irritable, and it was hard for me to understand why, right? I was getting mad, like, I'm Willis. I talk to myself all the time. I should figure out why am I pissed off, but I didn't really understand it until I had to look at what I wasn't doing. Sometimes you have to look at the things that you're not doing, right? Sometimes you have to replay your life for the past few years, past few months, and ask yourself, what did I take out? For me, I took out that time for self. And that's what I have to get back into, right? Scheduling time for self. So for everyone that's listening in, that one self-care piece that I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen, schedule time for self. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a day, a weekend, whenever. Schedule that time to where it's just you. And you're not doing anything. You're not worried about anyone. You're doing some stuff for yourself. We get so caught up in doing stuff for other folks that we forget about ourselves. And we do that a lot. And then we do that so much to where when it is time to think about ourselves, we think we're guilty. We think that we shouldn't be doing this. We think that it's a bad thing because we've been conditioned to work for someone else for so long. We've been conditioned to do for someone else for so long that second to where we decide to dive into our own pocket, we start to feel guilty. We got other people in our pockets telling us we feel guilty, and we telling ourselves that we feel guilty. So now it's just like, whoa, but it's never a bad time to think for self. You are never being guilty when you're putting yourself first. You may be guilty when you're putting yourself first at the expense of someone else's pain, right? When you're putting yourself first so you can put the next person down, that's where it's bad. And there's a lot of other people who use folks for putting themselves first when it comes to other people. But when you're putting yourself first, it has to be for the betterment of your own well-being, not for the betterment of whatever thing you're trying to accomplish, right? So schedule that time for self. Like I said, whether it's an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a day, a weekend, whenever. Schedule that time for self, man. It's thoroughly important. So, as we move on forward to the main topic of the show, my man, Patrick. What's the deal, bro?
What's up with you, dog?
Man, first and foremost, before we even get into that, man, you really be acting.
I hope so.
Bro, I can tell you this right now. I've never seen one episode of The Resident before I knew you. Once I knew you was on The Resident, I was like, okay, I seen one episode. And then once I found out you became a recurring, character on the show, I was like, okay, let me watch this.
Yeah.
And then I feel weird because it's like, and I do the same thing with Terrell when like when the Step Up series. I fast forward only to the parts to where you're playing.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's real love.
It's like the show is cool, but like let me just go see what his skills is acting like. And what fucks me up is like I really thoroughly applaud you for the fact that you're able to cry.
Oh yeah, emotion, baby.
What?
Yeah,
Dog,
man.
I be looking at you like, man, I wish I could do that, man. I be trying to. And I remember how you said the last time you was here, just breathe.
It's all in breathing, yeah.
But when you're breathing, what do you focus on? Are you focusing on crying? Are you focusing on trying to shoot tears through your eyes?
No,
Like,
I think that when you try to cry is when you can't cry.
Yeah.
Like when somebody's like, oh my, I'm about to cry in this scene. It makes it a lot harder. So if I put all my energy on the person who I'm in the scene with and just give them everything, then in return I'll receive that energy back. But I mean, you can think about acting their substitution, so I can think about something real in my life and then allow that to be my substitution point, or just that current situation.
but when you're crying, right? What are you thinking about?
Oh, I'm not thinking. I'm in the moment.
It's just flowing.
It's just flowing. I'm just 100%
So
in the
once
moment.
it go, it go.
Yeah, once I get it triggered up, we shooting all day.
Because I've heard in the past from other people who like give suggestions to people who try to cry on cue to start
Yeah.
to think of something else from the past.
Well, yeah, that's substitution. Yeah,
Yeah,
You
okay.
can't think about like sometimes I will start off by maybe thinking about something that happened or
Yeah.
someone that's not here anymore, and then that'll transition me into like being in the moment or like feeling the tears that I know I need in the scene. Then
Yeah.
I'll just use the scene for to do the work.
Got it. 'Cause
Unless it's like just something where I have to go extremely hard and I don't really feel it, then I'll go right to like someone that's passed away. Or
have
something
you
like
ever caught yourself in a position where they said cut, but you couldn't stop crying?
that. Oh, every time. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'll stop, but we crying all day. if we do it, like I just did Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy, we did a lot of takes. So it was like from the first one to the very last one, it was tears in between, crying. Everybody was quiet. They were like, "We're gonna roll another one. You guys ready? Here we go." And very like, but it's
Very soft.
yeah, it's just if I stop it, if I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
If I hop out of it, then I gotta try to hop back into it. I'd rather stay in it the whole
Man.
time.
And the other thing I want to commend you on is the fact that, you being a teacher.
Oh yes.
You being a teacher, right?
sir.
You being
Yeah.
an acting coach.
Yeah, man.
Right? Obviously, it's the acting coach and the coaching skills, but the teaching skills, bro. Is that something that you've always wanted to do, or is this something that just came naturally?
It just came. I think that well, at first it started in Atlanta when I was 22. A group of my friends were like, "Yo, we want to just get some actors together." We went to like an apartment clubhouse.
Oh, so y'all just really just started it for the love of it.
Just
I'm
for the love
bored.
of it.
Let's just start acting.
Let's just start acting. We just wanted to.
okay.
It was 10 of us, 20, and then went to 50 of us in an apartment like them clubhouses.
That shit
So
had
we're
to
like-
be, shit had to be hot.
It was
People
crazy in there.
sweating,
It was crazy,
musty.
and then they're acting all night.
Yeah.
So then we went to a studio in Atlanta, and then we ended up we're at a bigger studio now, but it's a very popular class. But it's such a loving class. You know what I'm saying? That we're free with each other. We just hop into it. I moved to LA, and now I'm a part of a class here called Actors Play LA. So I'm a coach there too. So
And like I said, it's dope for the simple fact that it's just for the love of it. It's not like,
yeah.
okay, I had a plan, I'm finna be an actor coach, and then I'm finna use
right.
this to this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yo.
It's just passing knowledge. And then every day, somebody's gonna ask me something about acting. So I mean, I find myself giving out knowledge all the time anyway, or giving parts of myself.
But what are
all day.
you learning from teaching?
I learned so much about people, like they're real, even the way they like covering up something. So I know,
Yeah.
for example, when I watch people go on stage, before they perform, I can see them and watch them try like do little things to like try to make everybody laugh or do something just to cover up what they really feel in the scene. It's learn how to break that stuff down and get to like the real parts of ourselves.
So what have you learned about when it comes to people's anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like to believe anxiety is a big part of acting.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Especially
Yeah.
when it comes to auditioning and doing
Yeah.
certain roles and stuff like that.
Right.
What have you learned to be able to help people overcome that anxiety when it comes to that? Because that anxiety goes to block, like the crying, for instance. The anxiety that you have is going to block it. You're never going to connect.
Yeah, that's the point. It's you can't really connect to something if that's the block. So it's taking that feeling and transferring it in a different direction. So
Okay.
anxiety, being extremely nervous, you can't help those feelings sometimes. So you take those things and then just transfer the energy. So if I'm like, before an audition, I don't do it much anymore, but if I'm like super like nervous, first I'll breathe. I'll calm, like,
obviously you ain't getting
like,
nowhere if you don't breathe.
No, I will like slow my life down, breathe, and then just channel that energy into like confidence or something.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, okay, I'm so nervous that it's taken away from my confidence, then I'll just shift it and let that energy go into being big and present in the room when it's time to audition. But I'll just transfer the energy, you know, or just like really slow down.
That's the biggest part, man. And that's not even just with acting. That's just everything.
Everything,
you gotta slow down the room. You have to slow down the room, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to really accept that energy that you're talking about.
Right.
That energy isn't going to be able to transfer through you. It's just going to go around you because you have all of this anxiety,
Right.
you know, overshadowing everything you have going on instead of just...
It's control. Last time we came, and I say this all the time now.
Yeah.
We're talking about when things in life are out of control, you find things that you can't control. You said that. So it's like, before you go into an audition room, you can't control that room. You can't control somebody not respecting you the right way. You can't control a lot of things, but you can't control like just relaxation. You know, you can't control what you listen to before you get into it. You can't control like in any situation where anxiety creeps up on you. You can control like the simple things, you know, and just try to just like relax the best that you can.
And the breathing is the one thing that you're always going to be able to control. Even when you ran 30 miles or whatever, you still have the ability to control it. It might hurt to try to slow it down, but you can be able to control it. And, and we get so caught up in the what ifs. Right, we get so caught up in the what ifs. You know, what if I do bad on this? What if I do that? Where we just lose focus on where we're at now. Right, we just lose focus in the moment. If we're able to really just tag into the moment, it's like that. You know, I know for me, sometimes I have to literally pinch myself. Just really, let's shut the fuck up. You know, and I be doing that sometimes when I be running groups, right? Yeah. Because I run groups a lot of times, and I'm the social worker that doesn't like people like that. I'm the social worker that's not super duper social. Right? So when I'm in the groups,
the unsocial social worker,
the antisocial social worker, like So when I'm in them groups, it's just like, all right, well, let's get yourself intact. Like my palms be sweating, my things, but I always have to like pinch myself or pinch myself. That's gonna force me to breathe because I deal with that pain by breathing, and if I just want to deal with that pain, it's gonna force me to tag into the now. It's a lot of different ways that people could learn how to really get into the moment. But breathing obviously is the number one key above anything else.
It is. I know there's this thing too where people you rub, after you do like really emotional stuff, you rub like a table and say, this is a black table. Yeah. Your feet on the ground. This is, like, I know where I am. Like, I'm here right now.
Try to be present.
Yeah, try to be present. You feel all the stuff that's around you just to help you. Same as pinching. Yeah. Just to let you know, like, hey, I'm right here, right now. Nothing else matters besides me being right here.
And that's the biggest part, man. So diving into the main topic of the show, man, one of the things I wanted to speak about today is this whole aspect of forgiving yourself. You know, why is it hard to forgive yourself? Why don't we forgive ourselves? What's stopping us from forgiving ourselves, right? And I'm going to speak about this now, but the question I'm going to, put onto you, as we open up the conversation around forgiving yourself is for you, right? What has been a moment in which, for you, have you forgiven yourself when it comes to everything within your life? Like, give me an example or a time in which you still have not forgave yourself. Okay. So, like, for me, right? The one thing, and granted, right, let me backtrack. When forgiving yourself, the aspect of not forgiving yourself and regret is two different things. Right?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, the aspect of not forgiving yourself and being regretful over a situation is two different things, right? I firmly believe being regretful is worse. I sometimes believe being regretful is worse because being regretful could stop you from doing things in the future. Right. Not forgiving yourself revolves around one specific thing. So for me, it revolves around this whole aspect of when my mother passed, and I wasn't really there for her as much as I should have been, right? And it was me working in a hospital, and with me literally like being around people who are about to die, or being around people who, you know, have trachs in their mouth and G-tubes, and being around people who have all of these medical issues. It forces me to be a little bit more present, and it forces me to be a little bit more present with death. Right? It forces me to be a little bit more present with death, because I've always ran away from it. Even though death was always natural for me, even though I've always known it was something that's going to happen, right? When it's time to come, when it's time to go, it's time to go, right? When God says, hey, it's your turn, let's bounce.
Come home. Yep.
You got to bounce. No matter how much you try to fight, it's your turn.
God, let me get just five more minutes, God. Just give me 5.
I'm sorry, but it's time to go, right? When God pulls you, it pulls you. And even though we understand that it's there, I always run from it. So when my mother passed, I ran from it, right? I blocked it out. I didn't go visit her in the hospital. I didn't cry at the funeral. It took 10 years. Yeah, I didn't cry at the funeral. It literally took 10 years for me to actually go visit her at her gravesite.
Really?
10 years.
You didn't go once?
Once. 10
Wow.
years. The first time I went to go visit her at her gravesite was December of last year.
Why did it take so long?
2018.
Why did it take you so long?
Because I didn't forgive myself.
Wow.
Because when you're not forgiving yourself, that's this aspect of guilt. So when it came around that, I've always felt guilty about it, right? I've always felt guilty about it. I always felt like, Willis, you should have done this. You should have done that. And I pride myself on being the strong dude. I pride myself on being the strong man that had the ability to get over anything, that had the ability to really go through anything and make it out. But that was the one thing I felt like I failed at. And because that was the one thing I felt like I failed at, it was something that I did not want to revisit. And it was also something that I did not feel the need to revisit it, right? I didn't feel like it was thoroughly important. So 10 years, she passed away in 2008. I went to go visit her in 2018. She's literally up the street in Inglewood Cemetery, right? And I did not go see her not once up until that time. And the thing that pushed me to actually go see her was I was in a bad place in my life at that time, and I just started to write down all of the things in which I felt as if I was personally running away from. And it was 2 things in particular. Well, 3. 1, feelings, obviously that's there. 2, my mother's passing. And then 3, I was running away from trying to find my biological parents, right? I'm adopted. I don't know anybody biologically, nobody at all. And the only thing that I have of any type of identity, family type of identity, is I have my original birth certificate with my biological mother's name on it. Outside of that, I don't know where I come from. I don't know brother, sister. I don't know medical history. I don't know anything.
Wow.
And I've always ran away from that.
Yeah.
But it's easy to run away from the things when you don't see the importance of trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So when I came around visiting my mother, I had to ask myself what was so important for me to do this. Because if it wasn't that important, I honestly would have forgot about it.
Yeah.
I would have took care of it. But at that moment, I remember being present within that, right? I remember me purposely trying to cry. Because I felt like...
You had to.
Yes.
Like it wasn't all the way if you didn't get a tear out. Yeah.
If I didn't get a tear out, it was going to be bullshit.
Yeah,
it was going to be fake.
Yeah.
I caught myself purposely having to cry, and I did not cry. So for the first few minutes of me being there, you know, I was pissed because it was like, I can't show her the feelings that I want to show her. And then you have all of these, like, do I love her? Should I have done anything else? Was I a good son? And blah, blah, blah. But it's like, damn, why can't I do this one little thing for a woman that has literally, you know, took me out of the foster care system, right? For a woman that has kind of saved me from bouncing around from group home to group home to group home, from a woman that has saved me from, you know, the system, right? Why can't I do that for her? Even though I've done all of these negative things to her, like I used to be a cold little thief. I used to steal from everybody. And even though I used to do these negative things to her, it was like she still loves me, right? She still loved me. And I guess for me, I was pissed at the fact that I couldn't show that love in return. Like I watched her I didn't watch her die, but I feel like I've watched her die because I watched her have a stroke, and then I called the ambulance, and I swear it took them like 30 minutes to get there. So I'm literally watching the tongue fall out of her mouth, watching her head slump over, and all these other things. So I feel like I'm watching her die, right? I didn't go to the hospital when she was on life support. She was brain dead. I didn't do none of that shit. Completely exited out.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just
Shut down.
how? Was it you really just couldn't deal with it at that moment, that you couldn't connect to it? Or you didn't want to connect to it?
I didn't want to connect to it, and I didn't understand at the time. I didn't understand the importance of connecting to it.
Ooh.
Right? I just felt as if that's what I used to tell myself is this is what it is. Right? I thought she was going to be cool because she would always go to the hospital, come back a few weeks later, go to the hospital, come back a few weeks later, and then she went to the hospital, and then she just never came back. And then they was like, she's on the machine, and blah 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 blah. I remember I was forced to go see her one day. I literally stepped in that room. I was in that room for like 2 seconds, and I bounced. Never went back, ever. And I didn't connect to it because not only did I not want to, but I didn't understand the importance of it. And it was so much easier for me to just throw it over my shoulder because I had other baggage to deal with. So that forced me to really, that taught me how to pick what baggage I want to affect me. Right? I was able, because at that time we was losing a house. The house was going through foreclosure and shit. We had to leave. It was about to be, like, the whole family was about to be homeless. I was acting a fool in school, lost her. I was doing all this other shit. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to allow that problem to affect me. I ain't worried about that shit right now. You know? And when it all happened, and when she passed, it was just like, okay, this is really real. All right. You know, she passed, and then we ended up getting kicked out of that house and moving somewhere else. So it's like, cool. I always had a different type of baggage to put over her. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you got that pile of dirt, but you just put stuff on top of it to cover it up. And last year, I was at a situation where I didn't know what to do because I was very depressed last year, like towards, not 2018. Was it 2018? 2019? 2017. Yes, 2017. 2017 is when I was here, not 2018. But 2017, I was very depressed, right? And I was mad at the fact that I couldn't get out of the depression. Like, I was pissed. I'm like, I'm Willis. I can do whatever. I had to realize that I had to unpack everything. And when I unpacked everything, that was the one thing that was kind of looking at me in my face, right? It was the fact that I didn't go see my mother, the fact that I never faced that, and then the fact that I attempted suicide when I was 17, right? So those two things are the stuff that I just never dealt with because I put baggage over it. And then once I actually went to go try to feel it, it was like, okay, I understand the importance of dealing with stuff as they come instead of trying to deal with stuff when you want to deal with them. You get what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to deal with this shit regardless.
You got to.
At some point in your life, you're going to have to deal with it regardless. And all of our things that we go through our life, we're going to have to deal with. We do not pick what we go through. We just pick when we choose to pay attention to it. So what's better? Paying attention to it now so you don't have to deal with it later, or paying attention to it later along with the other 30 things that went wrong, right? So for me, it took me 10 years to finally forgive myself. Do I forgive myself when it comes to that situation now? Yes. Do I wish I would have handled it a little bit better and a little bit differently? Obviously. But, you know, I firmly believe that things happen the way they're supposed to happen, not the way we want to happen. So I feel as if I was supposed to go up that route the way I was supposed to. But
for sure,
if I did not forgive myself when it comes to that, that would always be something on the back that would kind of haunt you, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. That's deep.
Yeah. So it's for me, it's just the aspect of forgiving yourself and why it's so important. It's just to be so free.
Yeah.
Be so free, because if you're not free, if you're not feeling relief from something, you're never really going to be able to grow at your biggest point, right? I'm going to say this last point and I'm going to let you hit it. I'm looking at Didier because I put Didier on reading this book by this guy called David Goggins. And David Goggins is big on, I'm going to go through the suffering. I'm going to, deal with the pain and grow from that. But he has this one thing that he always says, and he says that, I want to live. He says that I don't want to die. right? I don't want to die, go up to heaven and have this conversation with God, and then God shows you this person, right? God shows you this person. This person is like, for example, the doctor, this millionaire, this successful actor, all of these things. And then God tells you that's the life, that's the person you were supposed to be. You know, but because you've allowed certain things to block you, you did not become the person I intended for you to be. Right?
Yeah.
So when it came to that, it's more so about me trying to be the person that I think I'm supposed to be, instead of running away from the things that I think are going to hurt me. You know?
Yes.
So, what about you, my man?
What was the question one more time? Because I was so connected
When it
to
came
what you just said. Jeez.
when it came to forgive, whoa, backtrack. What's your perspective on everything I just said?
I have a unique perspective, obviously, because like my job is that you have to deal with what's in front of you in every scene. I just think that's so unique that because my question would always be why, like, why did he not go? Like, what took him so long to go? Why couldn't he connect to it? What made him run from it? Like all these questions of why. And as you answer certain questions, I'm like, what do you feel? Like even though you didn't cry or you didn't like I'm like, does he really feel like if you really feel free? Then it's like sometimes it's not even that serious, not even that deep. Because we try to make things like, hey, every moment doesn't. I was talking to my friend the other day. She's a lesbian. She said that she never had a big moment with her mom where she had like a big coming out party. She said it just never was that for her. She said it just wasn't that grandiose thing that we expect. So it's like when you said that, I was like, he didn't need a grand moment to of extreme grieving or crying. It's just I feel like I'm like, did you just make a decision like when you made the decision to go to the place where your mother was buried, and then was it just like I came, like I'm okay with it, and now I leave, and that's just that? Like if some stuff could just be that simple. But we choose to make them way more difficult by like overthinking or thinking, hey, it has to be this way, and if it's not this way, it's not real.
And I think we always overthink things. So like for me at that moment, I exactly remember telling myself, and I say this all the time, Willis, if you don't go to that cemetery and see her, you a bitch.
That's your go-to? Nigga, you ain't nothing.
That's what I always tell myself, right? And that seems to always work for me because I believe the things that I tell myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't care what anybody else tell me. Somebody can tell me I'm a bitch. Somebody can tell me I'm stupid. I don't care what you say. I believe the things that I tell myself. So I have to tell myself negative things in order for me to get away from those negative things. Which is why it's like, okay, I always have to tell myself, Willis, you a bitch.
I feel that.
And if I don't tell myself, Willis, you a bitch, you really gonna be a bitch because you bitch you're not.
I feel that.
You know, so it's about being, for me, it's about being 100% genuinely, thoroughly honest and brutally honest
to your own self. Because you can take that, you know.
I can take it.
Yeah, it's a lot of people who can't. Like it's like I'm the same way. I can take that. Like my whole growing up has been very honest, very that real. Like yo, this is what it is. But like now as I get older and I encounter different people, I'm like, the world is people are so sensitive that you can't be like, yo, you can't do that, bro. You ain't. Come on. Now.
Why do you think people are so sensitive when it comes to that, though?
I think it's just upbringing or what they're used to, like their version of learning. So it's like if you've had like a parent or whatever that was very like gentle and light with you, like you may not receive information the same as me, where it's like my mom was never like mean to me, but she'd be like very honest, like yo, if you don't do this, this ain't happening, if this ain't this ain't that, and like you're not gonna get you won't be this if you don't do this and this. No bunch of sugarcoating and stuff like that. There's steps that you need to take to get to where you want to be, and you have to take those steps, and it's just like, and it's so unique how and it's really been I'm better with it now, but like how people would think that I was way too honest. I was doing way too much. I'm like, yo, what do you mean? Like, if you don't get up, you ain't gonna win.
I get that all the time.
You're not gonna win. If you wake up, I'm like, if you waking up at 11 o'clock, Charlie, you're not gonna do nothing. Like, I'll beat you every time. Actors be like, I'll beat you every time. If you wake up at 11, and I wake up at 5, and
then I got you.
I'll beat you every time. You will get outlapped before you wake up in the mornings. So like, that's the reality of it, and now I gotta be like, no, well, just work hard and, do your best and it'll all work out.
And we don't understand how that in entitlement, not entitlement, but Yeah, we don't understand how that's soft and trying to be gentle with someone, how trying to not hurt someone's feelings is going to hurt someone on the back end.
Right, yeah.
It's not going to allow that person to understand the importance of trying to forgive yourself. Because when you have to forgive yourself or when you're even thinking about it, you got to deal with tough shit.
Right.
You got to deal with all the stuff in your closet.
Who you really are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to deal with who they really are.
Oh, no.
Ain't nobody trying to deal with who they
Right.
really are. You know, and you have to begin to do that. But if you've grown up in a situation where you're just sprinkled with the truth,
Right.
the truth isn't really given to you. You're just walking around it. You're just playing with it. You're not really, feeling
Exactly.
the bluntness of it.
Yeah.
You know. So, but going back to that question, when it comes to you, my man Patrick, when it comes to forgiving yourself, have you ever been in a position where you caught yourself purposely trying to forgive yourself over something, or is there something currently that you haven't forgave yourself for?
I think that the way that I handle certain situations, I think when I don't do things to the level of my expectation, it's hard to forgive myself then.
Okay.
So if I'm like, hey, you should be doing these things, and I constantly don't do those things, or like you should not let that person back into your life, but I keep doing it.
Yeah.
Then it's hard for me. I have moments with myself where I'm like, you're not being the person that you're called or meant to be, in that way. And even like as far as like directly forget, like you said, like your mom, like always leaving people to move forward has been difficult for me.
Yeah.
So like I lived in the hood. To leave all my friends in the hood and go to like a new city, to leave my mom, it's like I could only begin to forgive myself because I knew what was ahead. That was the only way I could even be sane enough to keep going without thinking about everybody's feelings back at home. Then when I got to the point that I'm at now, where my mom's like fully on board with what I'm doing, now I can say, okay, I didn't really have to forgive myself, but in that time before I saw the stuff that's happening now, it was really hard to kind of deal with things. But it's the same now because I'm moving so fast and I'm constantly going. There's no time to like pause or like get lazy. So the more that I move, there's the more people that are most likely going to get left back.
Is there guilt in that?
There is guilt in that. There's a lot of guilt in that. Because in reality, I don't know who's going to be around at not even at the end, but when I get to where I need to be. Because like, even with women, I ask like, I don't know if I said this last time, but I ask women like, what do you feel about Coretta Scott King?
Yeah.
I just had the idea to know that there was a woman who knew that her husband was cheating, but he was changing the world. Like, can you even like, without the cheating part, but can you connect to somebody like that could die at any moment? Who's like, Nipsey died recently, so it's like, hurt me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's somebody who's doing so well for the world, but to know that,
it questions your morality.
It does, yeah.
Right?
Like why? Like, it really messes with the brain because you don't know. Like, hey, if I'm 100% truthful with the world and how I see it and what I believe in, that one day possibly because I'm a little bit darker, they're gonna try to take me out. That's been haunting me for the past few weeks.
Yeah, and like when it comes to that brings me between this whole, which is greater, hate or love or hate type of thing, and when it came to the death of Nipsey and this whole question, the morality thing, we're big on energy. We're big on helping us understand, like, the energy you put out there will be the energy that you get in return, right? You put positivity out there, it's going to come back.
Right back.
And with Nipsey or with somebody as Nipsey or someone positive, extremely always putting that stuff out there, some reason they always get murked. They always get killed, right? So which was greater, the hate or the love? Everyone is going to always hate you, but it's not the hate for you, but it's more so the hate for themselves, right? So I dislike you. Well, I dislike myself this much that me seeing you shine is hurting me that much. And that goes back into forgiving yourself, right? That goes back into just trying to be okay with where you're at.
Yeah.
If we take a second to step back to try to forgive ourselves,
Yeah.
maybe Nipsey wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody like Martin Luther King wouldn't be dead. Maybe Malcolm X wouldn't be dead. Maybe all of these other folks wouldn't be dead if we just took a step back and just looked into ourselves and just try to forgive ourselves over.
Yeah.
Not even what I did, but how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Right? Because we try to skate over those feelings and try to say like, oh, like sometimes we say some negative shit about a person. We don't mean it, but we say it. We say it once, and we don't see how that thing is going to become constant, and how that hate is going to become a habit, and it's going to grow.
Yeah.
But we don't forgive ourselves for those negative thoughts that we've had. Like, it's okay to think negative.
Yeah.
It's okay sometimes to fall off of the horse. You know, as long as you get back up, as long as you long as you bring back positive thoughts to those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
But we're never forgiving ourselves for that. We're never really making up for it.
Yeah, and it's also like this whole like currently, if I could currently the idea that I'm battling with is the concept of greatness, right?
Yeah.
If God said, when God said, "Hey son, you're going to do this special thing. Yep. You're chosen. You're going to be chosen amongst, many are called, few are chosen. I'm going to make you a chosen person, right? And you're chosen to be great." Like the guilt that comes with being somebody who's getting catapulted faster than others.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the growing pains of like greatness means you're alone a lot of the time. Being alone, and just the constant I can't imagine what Muhammad Ali. I just can't even imagine in their brains Muhammad Ali, perfect example. To have the whole U.S. government, like them to say, "Hey, you gotta go." What was it? The army? You gotta go to the wherever. Yeah. You gotta go. He's like to say no, and then them to say that you can't do what you love to do because we don't want you to.
Even more so, I'm gonna take it away from you.
I'm like, what? He didn't box for a year or something like that. It's like to say that I can't do the thing that I love to do for a year. If somebody said, "Patrick, you can't act for a year," I don't know what I would do. I have no idea what I do with my time. You can't do no active stuff for a whole year.
Would you regret what you did that took away your acting?
I feel like I will think about it, but I think overall, I know that God has a purpose for everything, like you said. He has a purpose, so it's this is happening for a reason. Because Muhammad Ali is bigger than the boxer. So if I can look at that and be like, yo, he's a lot bigger than throwing punches at somebody. He means more to us than just boom, 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 than that. And
that's exactly what I was about to ask. If that is taken away and you're regretful for what you did, what were you really standing on? Right? Because with Muhammad Ali, you just said it, he's bigger than a boxer.
Right.
And what he was standing on was bigger than him. What he was standing on was bigger than the belt that they took.
Yeah.
It was bigger than all of that. So when it comes to actually trying to put that one thing that we think we're called for, because you could think that you're called to act, but the act could just be a vessel.
It's just the beginning.
Else.
Yeah, I know that's what it is.
Yeah,
we just doing this. We're gonna get a little Academy Award, and it's just a whole different direction that's gonna be. I know it, and even to think more of yourself.
Yeah,
can be like, oh man, I know this for myself because I heard it or I saw it when other people can't see things. I don't even
that can get real dangerous though.
Which part?
What you just said, all of it. That can get real dangerous.
Very dangerous.
The reason that can get real dangerous is because you're going to start to look down on people.
I don't think you look down, but see, I think it's because this is what I do. You try to, I'm trying to pull everybody up. I'm trying to pull everybody to open your brain, open your eyes so you can see what's happening. Listen. Yeah. But if they can't, then by that point, it looks like I'm looking down, but I'm just really trying to get you to see hey, if you really just pay attention and you really just listen and watch the way the world works, you can find out your purpose or your calling by just really, really actively paying attention to what is happening around you or how you respond to things. It's I'm even my grandma could say, I knew you'd be great from when you were a kid, when you did this, at this age, this. I knew what you was going to be always.
Yeah.
So if she could say that, and then I can believe that and then know more and then think more of myself and then believe these images in my brain are there for a reason, then I'm like, you can too. Everybody can too if they can access that.
But how do you switch that belief? Because even though some people look at themselves like I'm supposed to be great, some people look at themselves like I'm supposed to be shit. So how do you switch that belief in that one's head?
What do you mean? To the negative side? Being a friend. And honestly being somebody's real friend and taking time. Because I do this all the time. Where it's people think this low of themselves, but to constantly put in their brain come on, you a beast, you great, you this, you that. Because the more that I say it to you, you'll start believing it for yourself, and then you'll say it to your own self. So when God says, hey, Patrick was seasonal, I'm going to take him and put him over here now He's not with you like that no more.
Yeah.
You can take those things that he gave me to give you, and then you can keep going. So it's just honestly being like thorough and being a friend to people to be able to lift them up. And some people don't have that option. Some people ain't got good friends.
Some people don't have good friends.
You need you some good friends in your life. Everybody listening, get you some good friends.
Get you something, right? But sometimes we can be too loyal to that friend that we think is a good friend, and we're not willing to cut off that good friend, right?
My man,
because
John-
sometimes we ain't try to cut off that good friend,
Right.
That individual who we don't understand is really setting us up to fail more than anything else. Because sometimes the reason why you're not prospering within your field is because you're trying to work in your blessing next to a person that will never be aligned with your blessing. You're not willing to you're not willing to cut that person out. So you're never fully ever going to really grasp or really own your blessing.
Yeah.
You spoke about how sometimes you have to pull people up,
Yeah.
right? I'm big on not purposely trying to help a person with. I'm just big on not babying people in general.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that. I feel that.
In general, when it comes to friends, when it comes to therapy, when it comes to anything, because that can lead towards so many negative things down the road. And some people, when I ask you that question, how do you switch? You know, that negative belief of self. You said friend, but that could also kind of heighten that negative belief of self, right? Because if me or you are friends, and I fucked up in this one time, and I never forgave myself this one time, and I'm looking at you, I'm like, oh, it's cool, go ahead, blah, 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 you'll be great. Well, it's, my hate for you is going to grow because it's internal. So trying to put all of that negative stuff, trying to put all that positive stuff within their head as you were speaking about, it's going to take a lot out of you as the friend.
Sure. Yeah.
So at what point do you as the friend say, hey, I'm going to back up and allow you to grow at your own pace?
I'm not even there yet. Real life, like to be that, I gotta get pushed away. Like even right now in my life, right now, I've had to like literally hear things, or get information to fully be pushed away from somebody for me to let them go, and I feel like I was supposed to let them go a long time ago.
So you have to get knocked over the
I gotta
head.
get knocked over because I don't like giving up on people.
Yeah.
Because I would never want nobody to give up on me.
Yeah.
So like that idea in me, like even being loyal to a fault to something until I realize that like even if something's not even is beneficial for me, like hey, like being the boss. If I'm like a boss and you work for me, and I just can't fire you because I mean you're not
cool. Like,
we cool, but you're not doing the work that I need you to do as an employee.
Yeah.
At this point, you know, so it's just like I'm one of those people that like you gotta mess up real bad for me to be like, all right, man, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But and again, that's a loyalty to a fault, just for me. You know, I'm learning it.
It's a loyalty thing, but it's also a thing of.
And I feel bad about it. I feel good.
It's also a thing of knowing how to place people within the pockets or within the roles within your life, right? Because I believe everybody has a specific role in everyone's life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And their role within your life could last for years. It could last a lifetime. It could last for a few months, a few days. But the thing is making sure that you understand what that person's role is and sticking it to them, to that role. Because the second you try to bring that person out of the role, out of their role, is the second things will start to go left.
I got a question for you then.
What's up?
So when you do have someone, let's say the art of letting go, right? When it's time to let somebody go, how would you, Big W, handle that and go about going forward and honestly, when it's time, when it's time to let somebody go?
How would I do it?
How would you do it?
Man, it's
How do you suggest it be done?
Well, there's a how you suggest it be done. That's how I would do it.
Give me both ways. We got time.
Now, when it comes to me, right?
You're like, it's over with, baby girl. Let's get you out of here.
When it comes to me, I feel like I'm the king at letting people go.
Really?
The only reason why I say that is because I understand the importance of attention. I understand the importance of attention. See, a lot of people think I have to physically hurt you in order to piss you off. A lot of people think I have to like do something petty or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no. If you really want to hurt someone or if you really want to let someone go, just give them no attention. Right? Don't say anything to them. Don't look at them. Don't do nothing. Right? Just show them nothing. Because the one thing everybody wants is time. I want you to be able to give up some of your
Taking
time
notes.
to me. because time is so precious that if I see that you're willing to give up some of your time for me, then I know I'm that special, even if I'm a little bit. So if I see that you're not willing to give up anything, not even an ounce, not even the aspect of looking in my direction, that's going to kill me to my core. So when it comes to letting people go, I just gradually back off, right? Now, if I just cut you off, it's because you did something, right? And I tell you, like, I'm not fucking with you no more. But I tend to catch myself, and it's especially prevalent with a lot of my friends from college, that I'm starting to see myself gradually backing off from folks, solely because their role within my life has expired, right? So I can't try to force them or bring them with me because I'm going down a different path.
Yeah, you're going in a different direction.
Yes, life is going to move on regardless. They're going to go right, you're going to go left, they may go north, you're going to go south, whatever it is. But the second I've noticed is, and I used to do this all the time, look back and try to bring people with me, right? When you was talking about you bringing people up, I'm that same way. I used to look back and try to bring people with me. So much to the point to where it's like, you know, this bottle is like, I don't know, damn near empty. And the water in this bottle could be me. But I'm going to put my empty ass to the side and go over here and deal with all of these people. And I deal with my shit later, you know. And I used to do that all the time. But then once I backed off, and this happened within my depressive phase, right? I backed off from a lot of folks. And then I started to really see who was actually going to hit me up. But then even when people know I was in a time of need, nobody hit me up. So when nobody hit me up, that allowed me to understand, like, hey, their role within my life expired. Now it's time for me to, I don't want to say let go, because I'm never the type of person to where if they come back, I'm going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, if they come back and ask for help, I got you. But
Right now.
step away from a person, you know. I'm just not going to give you any type of attention.
Now, as hurtful as that may be in the process.
Dog, I remember this one girl in college to where, dog, she was I mentored her like her freshman year. She had done some conniving, like terrible shit. I would
Don't they all?
Oh my God.
Don't they
like,
all?
And then I used to purposely like walk past her and not even look at her direction. Dog, the pain that she used to go through just off of the simple fact that she seen that I wasn't paying her the attention, I was like, yes, fuck her. But when it comes to I guess the right way, because there's no technically right way of doing anything, but when it comes to the right way of understanding how to cut people off or let people go, you have to understand what you have to go back and ask your reason. What is your reason for letting someone go?
Right.
Are you letting someone go just because you're mad? No. Don't let someone go because you're mad. Don't let someone go because of spite. Don't let someone go because of hate, because you're just in a bad place. Let someone go when you're at peace with that situation, right? If you haven't spoken to someone in X amount of weeks or in X amount of months and you're at peace with that, don't force it. Just let it go and let it come to you, right? Because if it's meant to be, it will be. And if it is going to happen, it's going to happen. Whatever role that they played in your life, it has to expire. So we get so caught up in, like, I need you. You can't go anywhere. So we fight against something that's already destined to be. And we don't know what's destined to be until we understand how to get to peace.
That's crazy.
You know
That's
so
amazing what you just said. Again, say it one more time.
I don't know what I just said,
That
bro.
was amazing.
But
You need to write a book. Dang.
I don't know what the fuck I just said, but we'll play it back to it.
Man.
But it's
I never heard that before.
it's all about being at peace. It's all about being at peace. Everything. And if you're at peace with whatever you're doing it the right way. With whatever. Even if you're at peace in the middle of a war zone, you're in the right place. You're around the right people. Right? Some people are very, very at peace in the hood, in projects, hella dope. Somebody else is gonna say they're not in the right place. No, that person's in the right place. What they have to understand is, now that I'm at peace here, what am I going to do to bring peace to everyone else? And then once we start to bring peace to everyone else, then everyone is going to start to kind of really fall into that place to where they should be. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know how I got to like that, but
Yeah, we needed to go there. I'm asking some questions. I know people want to know them answers, man. Especially letting go and stuff like that too. Like, man,
because it's hard to let go, because it's like we look at it like, okay, first thing I ask myself sometimes is like, what am I going to miss about that person? When you have to realize that you're not really going to miss anything. Well, you may miss a few things, you may miss some conversations or whatever, but once you realize that you're still able to eat, you're still able to sleep, you're still able to take your shit when you need
I'm still
to.
thugging. So I'm good.
You'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to find someone to replace that individual.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the whole concept of putting people within a box, and when I say box, I don't mean like confine them into whatever, but put them into the role that they play within their lives.
Yeah.
It gives you the ability to work with people how you're supposed to work with them.
Yeah.
Right? Because because we have these conversations, but I can't have these conversations with my boys that I turn up with. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't have the boy that I turn up with. I can't take him hiking with the people that I like to go hiking with. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's about understanding where people fit in your life and keeping them there.
Yeah.
But we want everybody to be everything.
Yeah, I got another man. Now I'm like going deeper
Go
now
ahead.
with this, with the idea of really forgiving yourself. Because sometimes I can look but it's only in this current moment, like from like my perspective at everything at this very moment, right? So it's like, hey, because I feel like I would love to go and have a good time. Like when you said turn up, it sparked in my brain.
Yeah.
I would love to go and have a good time and do things, but I never do it. But I it's hard to even forgive myself for not having as much fun. Like I cannot forgive myself, but I'm like, I know the long term, like I know I want to go. So I'm like, dang, I would love to go out here and do this. I would love to go out here and hang with my homies. I love to go out here and meet different people and do different things. And it's like, I would never forgive myself for not doing as much as I could on a social tip or like connecting with the world in that way or doing that. But just because I know that like, hey, my feelings don't even matter because there's a bigger purpose.
Why do you think your feelings don't matter?
Because I know, like, hey, to not just because I know that there's something bigger, like that's it. Like, and if there was nothing bigger, then I'd be looking crazy at the end of my life. Like, dang.
But does that thing that's bigger? Is it that thing that's bigger? Is bigger than you? It's bigger than how you feel?
I feel like if let's say if I put it if I make it exact, if that thing bigger is 1 million people getting their lives saved, right? 1 million saved lives, then yes.
It's bigger than your feelings.
That's bigger than my feelings.
I gotta disagree.
Obviously, to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 1 million saved lives.
The reason why I say I gotta disagree is because your feelings aren't your feelings. The way you feeling at that moment, the way you feel about anything isn't the problem. What's the problem is the way you utilize those feelings. You get what I'm saying?
No.
So when we're angry, when we're mad, you as an actor, right? You understand the importance of honing certain feelings.
Yes, sir.
And allowing those feelings to live through you so you can be within that role as best as possible.
Yes, sir.
So you understand how to use those feelings as a tool versus a crutch.
Right.
So a lot of us look at anger and rage and all these as crutches. When you can use that anger to something else. You can use that anger that you went through in your life to get you a fucking Oscar.
Yeah, you can channel it, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So which is why I say for me, sometimes the way you feel at that moment cannot, be less than whatever is bigger. Because whatever is bigger is going to be attained by the feelings that come up. If that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever feelings come up. And it's about understanding how to use those feelings.
How to use those feelings, yeah.
Right? And because when we look at anger, the first thing we do is look at aggression and we fight. When we look at sadness, the first thing we do, we cry. When we happiness is laughter. But what about when that anger could switch and to drive you into a certain direction?
For sure.
What if that sadness could switch and to drive you, but we don't know how to utilize it? And I just think it's interesting that sometimes we allow something out here to overthrow the way we feel. Maybe, And I think it's more so about understanding that the way we feel about that situation, the way you feel about that person is irrelevant to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The way you feel about that person is irrelevant to the bigger picture. But the way you feel internally, I believe, is always number one. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's about that situation, whether it's about yourself, the way you feel is always number one. But we got to understand how to utilize those feelings.
Yeah.
And, you know, just going back to this aspect of forgiving yourself, we internally, the way we know how to utilize those feelings is we beat ourselves up with it. So not only are we beating ourselves up with the guilt and the regret and all these other things, we're beating ourselves up with all of the feelings that come along with it. We're beating ourselves up with the anger. We're beating ourselves up with the sadness. And that even ourselves is telling us, like, I'm not even worthy of being forgave or forgave by anyone. Because I ain't even trying to say.
I was gonna talk about worth. Yeah.
What is your worth?
Like not feeling worthy of certain things.
But we try to look towards the next person as being worthy though. Like we always, I gotta see being worthy in you. And it's not something that we have to. It's something that we have to understand is only going to always come from self. But we never get to that. We never think about that. We try to find the shortcuts. And that's the issue. We try to find the shortcuts, especially when it comes to forgiving ourselves, right? We try to find the shortcuts. We try to find the shortcuts in it, right? And if we don't find the shortcuts in it, it's not really going to allow us to be as great as we possibly could be.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
You know? So it's a at the end of the day, you just got to be honest and real with yourself.
Yeah.
Like facts. At the end of the day, you just got to be honest and real with yourself.
Yeah.
Is it 100% hard to do that shit? Hell yeah.
Yeah, because
But
I
how
feel
do
like
you get to
sometimes
that
you gotta fake it. You gotta fake it with yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To make yourself believe in something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But why do you say that?
Like as far as even stand on the topic of forgiving oneself, to like we said, to ignore, like when you said like you ignore certain problems, or even to say, hey, like to fake a feeling, like, oh, I don't feel this thing right now, but faking that, like if I'm not confident sitting in this room with you guys right now, before I walked into the door, I felt like I was extra confident to step on this microphone, even though I feel comfortable. But like to fake that feeling to that way until it felt, until I honestly started to feel it. You know what I mean? So even because I was even thinking about, like other people's worth, like in my whole pursuit of like trying to pull people up. Like other people's worth, not like them not feeling that self-worth. Then I feel bad. Like I like it's hard to forgive yourself, even when I don't even when somebody doesn't become what I feel like they were supposed to be, and I feel like I could have had it, like, cause I done seen people, like I've seen things happen. I mean, cause I'm again the hood thing. To know that, hey, if you would have did this, you could have been great. Or if you would have did this, or if I would have helped you, and to be like, yo, I never did that. I never assisted that person 100%. So I never forgave myself for not doing those things. But that's super deep. Like, you didn't become what you were supposed to be, and it's not my fault. But if I just would have did a little bit more, now I ain't got your phone number no more. Now I don't know how to reach you. But I know you ain't doing good.
But you couldn't have done a little bit more. You done everything you could at that moment.
Yeah. But what if you could have did more though? You know what I'm saying?
Then that's where that regret is always going to be there. That guilt is always going to be there. What we don't understand is, like, even when your best is your best, no matter how you're feeling, even when you're sick as a dog and you got the biggest headache, your best is your best at that moment. You're not if you're someone who runs, I don't know, a 4.4 and a 40, you could run that at your height. But if you got this headache, you're going to get a 4.6.
Yeah.
Even that 4.6 isn't the best, it's what you got at that moment. Right? So, which is why we have to understand it's never like, I should have done this, I should have done that. You didn't know. You didn't know. You know, at that moment. Even if you went back, how do you know what you tried to do, what you wish you could have tried to do, or probably could have made the situation worse? You know, it goes back into this aspect of just being okay with where we're at, being okay with what went on, and being okay with the fact that I didn't know that I wasn't capable of being this person. You know, maybe I was just going to fail at this situation. you know, but accepting that failure, is it really failure?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying.
Because it's your best is your best regardless of how you're feeling. You just got to make sure you understand that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say you didn't even know. Because like, if you knew better, I always say if you knew better, you do better.
You don't know what you don't know.
Because even in certain moments, I'll say, if we're arguing right now, I'll say to you, look, and I'm real. This is me. I do this all the time. Not all the time, but I do it. I say, look, I'm not like we're arguing, and I'll say, look, anything can happen to me in 5 minutes from now. So knowing that, like, no, like if I was to pass in 5 minutes, like, and I'm choosing to have this argument with you, I'm not gonna let it end off like and run away. Because me knowing better, anything can happen to me in 5 minutes. So I would choose to then try to gauge or adjust this moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be a little because if you don't know, you just don't know. Like, but I'm trying to control that moment to not be what it is as explosive or whatever as it possibly could be. So I feel like I'm almost kind of capping that moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
because of my fear of what could possibly happen or where we could possibly go in different directions.
But because that's your fear and you're thinking about that, you're never really truly in that moment.
Right, yeah.
So
This is a therapy session. It's a therapy session.
You're never really truly in that moment if you're worried about that fear. Because I believe fear doesn't exist within the present. You know, fear is something that...
What's in the future?
It's in the future.
It's in the future.
Or it's in the past.
What's in the past?
Whatever it is, but it can't be within that moment because within that moment, that's just where you're at.
Yeah.
And that's the same. That could be the same thing when it comes to. Nah, I was gonna say that could be the same thing when it comes to peace, but no. When you're in that moment, when you're present, that's when you're at most peace. But that fear is when you're everywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, you're stretched out in different directions. So I think more so than anything else, you know, when it comes to the aspect of forgiving yourself, right? It's all about, for me, right? And then I want you to answer this question. But when it comes to this aspect of forgiving yourself, for me, it's all about just being at peace with what you were not able to do at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for me, I was not able to be there for my mother as I thought I wanted to be. However, at that moment, I was doing the best that I could possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that moment, that was the first death that I encountered, but it was the biggest death I encountered at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the best that I could do at that moment. So I have to be okay with what I couldn't do. Be at peace with the things that I couldn't do. That's going to allow someone to, you know, forgive themselves, I believe, that much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So when it comes to this aspect of forgiving yourself, what does that mean to you?
Which part?
Just in general, whether it's yourself, whether it's your past, whether it's with anything.
Well, I do think that it allows you to be free.
Yeah.
Like, and I can say that honestly and thankfully say that I haven't like I don't not forgive myself for things often. Like I'm not burdened by not forgiving myself for things because I told you my mindset is okay, cool. Well, this is good. This is gonna be taken care of when this happens. But I do think it allows freedom because, like, one thing I can say about myself usually 90% of the time is that I feel free.
Yeah.
Like I feel because I don't hold things back, you know? So it's like if I do something in this moment, I did it
For real.
because I felt it and it was that right then, and I'll go and I'm just gonna keep living. I'm not gonna like sit in the moment and be like, oh man, like regret. I don't regret too often, you know, because I'm a little more cautious with things based off of previous experiences. Which is funny, like you said, like even like with the death of your mother, not going to visit her. That one bit of information that you got then helps you for another time. Or like each time it's like you get better over time, or you help other people get better, like us even doing this right here. Someone hearing this and be like, oh cool, and them getting that learning point. But I think it's all to freedom in oneself, to be as loose and constantly like in the zone, like I love to say, like always being in the zone if you're free. But if you're not free, then you bog down by those thoughts.
Break them damn chains, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit. But you know, moving on forward to the main topic, not the main topic, we're just on the main topic. Moving on forward to the question, right? And this question is something that I always have to come up within the show. I never make it prior to the show. Allow the vibes or the energy of the show to give me the question. So we low-key just answer the question. But the question that I want for, I guess for you all that's listening, for myself, for you, Pat, is when it comes to forgiving yourself, where do you think you should start at? should you start with, when it comes to forgiving yourself, where do you think you should start at? Should you start with that pain, or should you start with purposely trying to get over that pain, if that makes sense?
Explain a little bit more.
So, for me, right, when I was trying to forgive myself, I was like, okay, I need to go backwards.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I had to realize it's not about me going backwards, because going backwards isn't the answer.
Mm-hmm.
What it is about for me, it's about just being okay with where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
Some people have to go backwards because going backwards allows them to gain a better understanding of what went on. For me, it wasn't about understanding what went on in the past. I'm good with forgetting things like that. For me, it's about understanding why am I feeling this way. I'm a little bit more introspective in those regards.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the question, when it comes to forgiving yourself, when I ask what are you more important for you, is it important to actually go back to understand it, or is it important for you to actually stay present to understand you?
Present for me. Because it's because the past is gone. It's gone. You can go back to recollect feelings and stuff like that, but it's like what all that has done to me to this very moment is what's most important. Because like now how it's sitting on me now is different than how it was sitting on me before. So if I deal with it how it is right now and in this moment, if I can forgive myself and move forward from it, then I'm free right now. You know, because like the old stuff is gone. Because I could sit back and think about that memory, that thing that happened, or that big, huge moment. But like no matter what it was, it's like if I'm right here and I know the feeling of what that made me feel, and I can get over those things and I can forgive those people or myself for those events or those situations, then I mean I feel that freedom. But it happens for me in the right now.
And that's for everyone else. Understanding that it has to happen for you within that right now, within that present. I say this all the time. Depression is about focusing on the past. Anxiety is about focusing on the future. If you're never right now, it's never going to be right.
Say that one more time.
Right now. Depression is about focusing on the past. Anxiety is about focusing on the future. If you want any type of peace, you have to deal with the present. You know? Wow. You know.
That's great.
Good looking for sliding through, Pat.
Man, listen, I needed this. That's why I came.
Hey, man, I need some therapy. Let me
Man, what you got next? What you got next cooking?
Man, I'm doing 2 movies right now. So
Uh-huh.
I'm working on 2 movies, which is dope, and I'm excited. Like we just wrapped on a Resident the whole season.
Yeah.
So I think on like episode like 19 or 20, and I'm in the finale, so that's cool.
Are they gonna bring you back for the next season?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't know, but I'm excited about what's next. You know, because that really had me like, because I didn't know, because I've already done 2 seasons. I'm like, all right, cool, we've done well, but I'm at this moment now where I'm in this, like, I'm at the top of a ceiling, and I'm just waiting to break through to something new. So I'm excited about that. But I'm doing the movies, and then Power comes out.
I know you're excited for that.
I'm just super excited about showing the world a different side. Cause that's good. That's
Are you in one episode of Power? Or you in the film?
all I need is one.
Okay.
When you watch it, you gonna understand. All I need is one. To bounce off of. If I did nothing in my life, Grey's Anatomy, that episode, and Power, those 2 episodes as an actor are enough to show the world like.
When it comes to that real,
this young boy got some range.
when it comes to that real, that's the first 2 things.
Exactly.
That's the first 2 things.
I'm excited about living, man. Just living
Living and just being
and changing some lives. That's what I really want to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change the world.
Change the world when you change yourself. You got to start with self. We get so caught up in like I need to make this big impact, but we got to make the big impact at home. You know, I believe the reason why people like Nipsey was so big is because he wasn't worried about I need to make the impact in fucking San Bernardino.
Yeah.
I don't need to make the impact in New York.
Do it right where I'm at.
I need to make the impact in my district.
Yeah. And that impact in that district, it was enough.
And that's the same for everyone else, man. When having these things of conquering the world, have those dreams, have those big ass aspirations. Don't shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars, shoot for the other galaxy, shoot for whatever. You know, because if you shoot for all the way out there, you're gonna end up on top regardless if you fell or not. You know, but understand that you have to get home right first.
Yeah.
Get your circle right, get you right, and then everything gonna be right after that.
Yeah.
But man, shit. Appreciate you for coming through, big dog.
Man.
Man. To everyone that's tuning in, good looking. To everyone that tuned in halfway through the show, good looking.
Happy
To
Easter,
everyone-
man.
It is Easter.
Happy Easter, man. Hey, Big Dog rose today, so shout out to him.
It is Easter, man. It is Easter. Happy Easter to all those individuals, you know.
Yes, sir.
Happy Easter to all those folks, to all those individuals who will be listening tomorrow, the next day, the day after that, good looking. And even more so to you, if you are never, ever, ever going to be listening to this at all, good looking to you too. Why? Because you give me the motivation to understand, and I got somebody else to grab. You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? As always, understand, ain't no wealth without your mental health. So please stay blessed and take care of yourself. Be great, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Yo.